Hey guys, this is Cody Jones with JANGUS Genetics LLC, and I have kind of a neat opportunity here behind me. We weaned our spring bulls, or our fall bulls, and so we've got all of the different age groups of bulls we've got together, and I wanted to kind of show you what the difference is, how they grow. Now this isn't a completely fair comparison. The fall born bulls we've been selling over at my dad's place, my grandpa's house. And so they've had a little bit of grain. The spring-born bulls never had grain. The big bull here never had grain. And my 18-month-old bull, I've got one in here. We ended up losing our second big bull last fall. The other bull, the backup bull, we're actually selling him this spring. So if you need a bull, let me know. He's been on grass. I can't remember if we got a month or two. I don't think he ever had any grain. So if that's important to you. He's probably getting a little bit right now just because he's in with some other cattle. Dad feeds a lot of grain. He's not a lot, but he keeps them growing. He likes to keep them gentle, and he runs a farm with a grain operation, so he feeds grain. So anyway, I'll flip you around. I'll show you what we got here, kind of explain the different sizes, different ages. A lot of the variation with the younger bulls is going to be in the cows. Now I do still have some variation in my cows, which isn't a bad thing. If you're wanting a little bit more frame, we can help you find a bull that should grow a little bit more. And then, if you're looking for something that's going to help moderate your herd a little bit more, we can get you something like that too. But we'll flip you around. We'll kind of walk you through them and talk about the differences and kind of how you expect them to grow them out. I don't expect a lot of my customers to feed a lot of grain, but a lot of them still like to feed a little grain, keep them gentle, make them easier to handle. There's nothing wrong with that either. So either way, we've got options for you. All right, so just again, to remind you, we just turned all these bulls in together yesterday, and they haven't been doing much fighting. And you see this a lot of times. If you'll turn two bulls in, two big bulls of the same size, a lot of times they'll fight. If you got two main herd bulls, same size, they'll do a lot of fighting to try to figure out dominance. Every day is a new battle when you wake up with someone who's close in size and strength to you are. They keep fighting to figure out who it is, and that'll change day to day sometimes. Here we have a dominant bull. Again, he's a 3-year-old bull, so he's still got a little growing to do. But just a massive hoss of a bull. Grass type bull anyway, and he's established dominance pretty quick. You can see that's the number 15 bull there. He's got his lip curled back doing the fake Fleming response. There's nothing in here to check, but he's going to be not as heavy as those bulls that have had grain for a couple months, but he's bigger, he's got more frame, and so he's still established dominance over them overnight. And then I'd say that other bull in here, those are probably, again, Duke and his half brother, or his full brother, those are the three bulls still kind of pushing on each other. Everything else is pretty much like, yeah, we're just going to get out here and eat grass and enjoy life. We know we're not going to win that battle, but bulls are like little boys. They kind of like to play. They'll push. They're not establishing dominance, but they'll push and train each other, and they just kind of enjoy each other's company. So that's what you're seeing here. These two bulls been running together. They're pushing on each other, playing with each other, and then the full brother to Duke here is kind of joined in on that match. So also the three gentler bulls, we like our herd bulls to be gentle. Again, these are the ones I'm using myself. We've been using Duke. I don't want to get too many of his daughters out here. Again, and I've got a full half brother to him that I really like. I don't think that these young yearling bulls are quite mature enough to turn out on the number of cows that I've got. I think they'll handle a few. They probably get it done, but I like to be on the conservative side, and I don't want any open cows. So we're gonna turn number 15 here. I think his name's Enforcer. He's gonna be our main herd sire this spring. We got 30 cows. We're gonna turn him on 35. Duke's gonna go in on another set of younger cows. Probably 30 in there that he could breed to, and then we've got two more little bulls and then another little backup that are yearlings. So hopefully we don't need the backup, but after losing Dane last fall, I kind of decided I need to have a couple extra around, and if we're going to run them on grass anyway, it doesn't hurt anything to have an extra out here grazing either. So he's just going to grow, develop, and somebody needs an older bull. Hopefully we'll want something like that later on. So I'll quit getting in your way here, and we'll show you the bulls again. What we got here, this is JANGUS Duke, number 66, and I've used him. He's been a main herd sire for me for a couple years. He was born in early April of 2022. This bull right next to him is a full brother to him on the mom and the dad side. So if you're interested in this bull, we're probably going to let him go before fall breeding season. Give me a holler if you need something like that. He's a pretty special bull. But this bull here was born in 2024. So that's a 3-year-old bull and a 1-year-old bull standing right next to each other. The 3-year-old bull, they grow until they're 4 to 5 is what the Angus Association says. And so that's kind of what we're looking at. Now, again, these younger bulls have been getting a little bit of grain. The bigger bull hasn't seen grain in 3 years. My dad did have him for a month or two while I was getting things sorted out. I wasn't quite ready to use him. So that's where we're at. Let's see. Now, 15. Oh, here's my 18-month-old bull. So you could see he's never had any grain. You could add 300 pounds pretty easy to him if you'd been graining him on and off. But both these two bulls here came off of working cows just a couple months ago, and so they're in their working clothes and they're gaining weight like crazy on this grass. Also, I don't believe we ivermected them before we turned them out last fall, so we try to keep things you know, as natural as possible. We do end up worming these yearling bulls just to keep them clean, keep them growing, but we don't worm our cows. And since I wormed the rest of those bulls, I did just ivermect these two bulls just because the fly pressure on them would be tremendous if we did everything else and not them. But we keep them rotating, and the flies, you know, there's days that they're bad, but that really does help to mitigate the flies and the parasites internally too when you do a long enough rest period that those parasite life cycle expires. So the wean calves have walked over to the corner. Let's get over there, we'll get a closer look. You can see there's a pretty big difference in size here. And so here's that 3-year-old bull, and he'll grow another 2 inches. There's his full brother. Those are full brothers. You can see they're made different. In humans, I don't know what the difference is in livestock, but in humans, there's up to a 5% DNA difference in siblings, between full siblings. And I think you can kind of see that. It's kind of neat to see. I think I'm going to end up liking his little brother better than I do Duke here. But their mom is just a tremendous producer. She's done it every year. She's my oldest cow in my herd, and they're both really good bulls. But this one he's got a different head to him. I think I'm gonna like that a little bit better. Does have a little bit of white back up in the udder area. A lot of these Angus cattle do. Doesn't hurt anything. My grandpa says they milk better. That's his joke. But really good quality cattle there. Good bulls. They're gonna make some good cows for us. And I don't like to see any other white other than a little speck back there. But so there's Duke. You can see he got a good amount of length to him. He's got a good crest on him. He's still gonna grow for another year, and then he's gonna start putting on fat. So he's gonna be a really good bull for us and for whoever gets him next. I may even talk Dad into buying him. He's a good one. He's a keeper. Here's his full brother. You can see they're not as gentle as I like them to be. Honestly, I like to be able to put my hand on these bulls. I think 57 would probably be a little bit more gentle, but we'll have to see that. Have to see on that. But just you know, good gentle bulls. They handle really well. Nothing wrong with them at all. Here's a JANGUS Enforcer, that number 15 bull. Again, really good producing mama. All these bulls are gentle. They're respectful. Respectful probably more important than being gentle. But, you know, I just love to see this kind of temperament. They're not running away from me. I'm out here talking. You know, they're also not being aggressive in any form. But there's the height difference on these two bulls. You could see, you know, 2 years, 2 inches. That's pretty darn close. Now, any difference you see, you know, the moms can make a difference, and your frame size can be a little different. They may breed a little different too, but you can see this bull here, that bull's standing on a hill, but just about, you know, 1.5 inches to 2 inches, which 6 months difference in them. So, and those have been on grain for 2 or 3 months. There's a 55 bull. He's gonna also be, all these bulls are half brothers. They're out of, no, all my big bulls are half brothers out of Golden Arrow. And now some of these littler bulls are gonna be out of Dane and Duke. Sorry. Some of those little bulls are gonna be out of this bull. Some of them are gonna be out of Golden Arrow. We've sold Golden Arrow, and I don't want to get too line bred here. That's not my goal. But what we're doing is we're breeding back to our oldest cows, keeping calves in, out of them, and then we've kind of closed down our herd for a little bit. And I think that's going to really help with our consistency. As you can see, there's just a lot of consistency in these bulls right here. Just a good set of bulls. There's another yearling bull, 18 months, 3-year-old. And then these bulls back here, they range from the last week of August, and I think we had a couple of December calves in here, but most of them are going to be September, October calves. So if you see anything out of line, like that little guy there, he's probably a December calf. We didn't have very many. I don't like calving in December. But yep, there you can see. So a yearling versus an 8-9 month old bull. Nope, that's another yearling behind him, but you can see the hair coat difference. These calves are coming onto green grass. Well, they've been on green grass, but they haven't quite shed out yet. But they're going to do a tremendous amount of growing. Their hair coat's going to change here pretty quick, and they're just going to change a tremendous amount in the next 30 to 60 days. So there's the differences that we're seeing. Also coming out of 2 different herds, these bulls are. That's why you see a little bit more riding. Some of that's just being a bull, but they're still establishing dominance, figuring out who each other are, and all those things. So it's all part of the process when you're running a lot of bulls together. But these bulls will breed cows, quite a few cows, by the time they're yearling. I like to, you know, naturally 14, 15 months when you turn a bull in with cows is probably the first you would start seeing some of that in nature. And these bulls, if you got some big cows, 18 months, or a quantity of cows, 18 months is really pretty ideal, I'd say. You know, for the first big breeding season. So what way we have a lot of customers do is they'll come buy a yearling bull. You know, you'll lose them on 10, 15 heifers, something like that. And then by the time they're ready for the next breeding season, either that the next spring or fall, or then the next year, you know, they're 18 months, 2 years old, and they're going to breed a lot of cows. You can see that bull passed the semen test all day, every day, and he's just now a year old. So again, the grain's going to come on and affect that a little bit. Kit Furrow talks a lot about grass developed bulls in his program, and you know, they're going to store some fat in the testicle sac, and it's going to make them have a little bit bigger measurements if you're just looking at your circumference on a semen test. But I like to see a big nutted bull. You know, it just gives you a lot of confidence. But the grain is going to add a little bit of extra fat into that equation. So I like to see a bull pass the semen test by the time he's 12 months old, and then you know they're good by the time they're 14, 15 months. And again, if you want a lot of confidence and want to breed, you know, a good big number of cows, you're running up there 18 months to 2 years old. You could breed a lot of cows with these type of early maturing cattle. Love that slick hair coat. That's my backup bull there in the back, and he's a month younger than 55 and 57, my other 2 yearlings in here. But his mama's a really good mama too. There's 15. Suck, Willie, suck. Not used to me being out of here on foot a whole lot. But that is one thing I like about having these bigger, older bulls in here. Man, that's a powerful little bull. He'll be for sale this fall. Easy, boys. having an older bull or an older cow out with your younger stock really helps to settle them down. But anyway, they'll be good and settled down and gentle by the time sale time comes in. But there's still a bunch of young boys and a big new group of friends, so they're working it out. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, enjoyed this video, kind of seeing what these young bulls look like, kind of seeing as they age and mature. Again, that 2 inches a year, that's pretty close. They'll grow up till they're 4. These early maturing bulls probably aren't going to grow a lot after that. You know, your taller, more conventional type bulls are going to keep growing until they're 5 because they just spend so much time putting on frame that they don't have any time for putting in fat. But that also correlates to if you're trying to breed with them, you know, they spend so much time, more time and energy putting on frame that they don't have as much reserves and energy and time to put into breeding cows. So these bulls are going to breed a lot more cows than a conventional type of bull would. They're going to do it on a lot less feed, lower quality feed, and they're usually going to gain weight if you haven't been feeding them before you turn them out. They're usually going to gain weight during the breeding season, so that's pretty cool. I do most of my calving and breeding in the fall, early winter months, and that kind of makes sense on this fescue. This is a high toxicity Kentucky 31 fescue. My spring calves, I seem to have a little more health issues as far as pink eye and those kinds of things. So don't see a lot of pneumonia, you know, unless that's a me thing where I screw up and put them in a dry lane or something like that. Going back to water as I learn to better manage, we don't see a lot of those kinds of things. And the pink eye issue, you know, that's something that everybody who's got cattle in the real world has probably dealt with some pink eye. And I kind of cull for that, and we're selecting bulls and out of cows that have you know, performed well. And as time goes on, we keep getting better on that. Right now we do sell a few bulls that have little spots that they can see around, different things like that. You know, and we sell those bulls a little cheaper, and they perform well. And I don't think that their calves have any issues, you know, more than they normally would. But it is something I'm conscious of. We want healthy, strong animals that never have any issues. But we also have to charge a premium for that sometimes if you know, you got a hard year, different things like that. But anyway, good quality bulls out of awesome cows that have raised a lot of calves on fescue with no issues is what we're looking for, what we're trying to produce. And that's what we got back here. I think we're really getting there. We're really we're in sync. We've kind of figured out what we want from a cow standpoint, and you know, those kinds of things. Like I said, we've kind of closed down our herd, working on that consistency. We still have some variation in cow size because the cows keep doing it. You know, if the cow's going to have a calf every year and not need anything extra and be, you know, gentle, wean a profitable calf, milking quality, health quality, all those things, and she keeps doing it year after year, we're not going to get rid of her. There's no reason to. I don't really care what frame size is. I care about you know, the performance of the animal and that they're profitable. And so nature's going to work all that out for us over time. And we're probably going to just keep getting more consistent and better and better and better every year. We're probably going to end up either AIing some of my best cows to some really good quality bulls, those kinds of things in the future to give people, honestly, people want a little bit of new genetics. They're, you know, I am too. I'm a little worried that, you know, you get them too close and you concentrate those genetics. I don't want to do that. We want to keep enough genetic diversity to make sure that we're keeping and maintaining good health, good vigor, good, you know, profitable performance, right? Now there is an argument to be made that if I bring in, you know, outside sources that aren't very close to what I've got, you get that hybrid vigor. I see a lot of bull producers do that, where they're running one kind of cow, they breed them to a big bull, and then they sell that calf as a breeding stock, and you lose a lot of that consistency. But you know, that bull looks really good. He grew really well. I want my customers to be able to use these bulls and create their own hybrid vigor. Hybrid vigor isn't really something that I'm shooting for within my registered herd. As a commercial producer, you should be able to buy these bulls and make calves that perform better than these bulls. by breeding them to your cows. So you know, that's I try to keep them pretty tough. We don't starve them or anything. You know, we, especially in the summertime, I want to keep them on good grass, keep them performing, keep them growing. But in the wintertime, you know, I also want to keep them on good grass. I don't want to introduce a lot of, you know, things that they don't need. I don't want to treat anything that doesn't get sick. And I want to slowly eliminate and select bulls from things that don't get sick. We want to, you know, Ivomec was one of the first things I got rid of in my cow herd. And, you know, we want to get rid of those that don't produce as well. And that way, if you decide you need to Ivomec your cows or your calves or whatever, you know, they should perform really well. Whatever you add to these cows or calves or bulls should just keep making them better and better. But also at the same time, if that's important to you and you care about soil health and you don't want to, you know, put wormers and fly control on your cattle, then they should be able to perform under that. And that's important. You know, I have been feeding a little bit of grain to my bulls just because I'm selling them with Dad. That's not a goal. These cattle will perform on fescue. And I hope in the future to be able to get to a fescue sale. Honestly, it's a time constraint for me. You know, a lot of people, we don't have a sale, and I think there's some merit to that. I think there's some merit to having a sale, and that may end up being what I get to. But to make these cattle perform, you need to be moving them every day. You need to have somebody with them. You know, you have to have enough bulls to be able to pay somebody to do that, whether it's me or somebody else. You know, we've got lots of tasks to do throughout a day, and to make animals perform just on grass, you need to be really good grazer, and that requires movement and management and time and energy. And just being one guy, I'm running quite a few different cow herds on smaller acreages. We're moving them around, doing a lot of other things that you just have to do to keep a farm going and to make payments and to, you know, take care of my family. And so, you know, we haven't been able to hire somebody just to run around a number of bulls like this. So feeding them and letting Dad help sell them, it's easy to get them up and show them. The bulls benefit to you. They also get a little bit more gentle. And they're on good grass over there too, but they do get a little grain. So far, that's what we've had to do to keep it up. If you guys are interested in a grass-fed bull, by all means, reach out to me. If you pay me up front, I'm hoping to get to where I can run all these on just grass, completely 100%. So, you know, reach out to me early. Most of these bulls, I don't want Dad to feed them too long, you know, just a month or two. Right when they're getting big enough to sell, semen test and sell, you know, I usually take them over there. So if you're wanting something that's just on grass and that's really important to you, like it is to me, let me know, and we'll keep them sorted off for you. And like I said, I'm going to have a backup bull anyway. So, you know, if that's important to you, let me know. I'll keep one back for you, and we'll work out a deal on grazing fees, or, you know, whatever that looks like. I haven't figured it all out yet, but if you don't need them for a while and you want me to keep them grazing, you got to pay somebody to come out here and check on them. So that's, it's not a lot, but, you know, it's something. So anyway, I'm going to let these guys get back up here in the shade and enjoy the rest of their day. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Appreciate you listening to me. If you have any questions, comments, you need a bull that's just developed on grass, you want me to come pick one out early and keep him up here until you're ready for him. Or maybe I'll even do, like, I think Greg Judy does a sale weekend or a collection day where he gets them all up for a week and people come pick them out, or videos, or I could do a lot of stuff. I'm just, you know, Dad's been doing most of it, but I'm happy to do these things. It's just a convenience thing and a labor thing. Don't have time to do it all the time, but I enjoy meeting my customers. I enjoy meeting you guys, listening and hearing about your operations and what you need and want from a bull. Want to make sure, you know, that helps me make sure I'm on track, going the right way too. So there they are. These young bulls will be for sale this fall. Usually, again, about they'll be 14-15 months, most of them in December. The rest of them will probably sell in the spring. But if you need a young bull for a couple heifers, as long as they pass the semen test, we'll you know, we can send them with you. But yep, that's what we got going. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Like, subscribe, comment for more. Let me know if you have any questions. Also, we're going to be selling that big bull here in the next, probably after this probably September, October, we'll pull him out, and he'll be for sale. He'll be a great bull for somebody. You know, he's a big herd bull. We'd like to have, you know, some decent money for him, but it's not going to be like going to a big sale where someone's, you know, bidding up the price and playing all the political games. It's just an honest bull out here. You'll see what he is, what he's done. Like I said, we got some good calves out of him, and he should be a really good bull for somebody. So that's hopefully I'm going to keep doing that. I want to use these bulls for a year or two. Like I said, we don't want to keep compounding these genetics. I want to keep getting those old cows cycled in, and so that's my plan. I'm going to keep these bulls, you know, as many as I need, plus 1 or 2 more for a backup, and run them, and then they'll be for sale. So if you guys are looking for an older, more mature bull, I don't have very many of them, but the ones that I have, they're the ones that I'd keep for my own herd, have kept for my own herd. We'll do a trick test, semen test, make sure everything's good on them. But you let me know if that's something that interests you. I'll get you on my list. And I don't know if we'll, if I have a lot of people interested, you know, maybe we'll do, you know, a bidding type of thing, silent bid, something like that, and see what people are interested in. But he'll be ready to go for somebody in December for sure. If you want to turn out in the fall, that'd be an awesome bull for somebody. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you.